Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Expanse. Today we are watching Season 1, Episode 7 now, I believe it is. And this episode is called Windmills. Which sounds like we might be getting something on Earth, maybe? Because I can't see windmills existing in other places where they don't really have an atmosphere and thus no wind. Last week we got a lot from Miller. I feel like we saw quite a lot of him, got a lot of insight. He's learning some new things. We learned a bit about the OPA guy, who I believe his name is Dawes. Anderson Dawes. I thought that he was the dead body that Miller found, who had the thing in his leg, but I believe it's actually the OPA guy who kidnapped him. So we saw him, we got a bit of insight into him, and he does not want Miller finding out what happened to Julie. So he was about to kill Miller until Miller's friend found him, who also, I've learned her name as well. It's Octavia, or Tavi, I think I saw someone in the comments said. So I know some more names. Look at me go. So they have been figuring things out. They had a look at what was on the little flash drive that Miller found and learned about a bioweapon of some kind that was being made on Phoebe Station and presumably is on the Anubis now, I think. Or it was like on the Scopuli, and there was a whole lot of ships and backwards and forwards, and I don't know what it was all about, but there's a bioweapon out there and ships are being destroyed to keep it a secret. Why would they need to drag the Canterbury off course then, if ships are being destroyed to keep it a secret? Because it makes no sense to me, because the Canterbury knew nothing about it, and then it got dragged off course and was destroyed. So that seemed like a more targeted attack. Anyway, that's an aside. I just had that thought. What else happened? We got a bit of insight into the OPA. They've got a very family-centric you are my brother, you are my sister vibe, which makes it easy for them to snatch up disillusioned, rebellious people. Or people who feel like they don't fit in with their family, because they offer these people a family and a place to live and a place to feel like they belong, which seems to be one of the prime recruiting methods of the OPA. That and the Belter's general dissatisfaction with Earth, which I feel is probably more of a driving force for them. When it comes to the crew of the Roci, they settled in a little bit into Taiko Station. And they've been gone off on an away mission to pick up this guy. And somehow they managed to convince Fred Johnson. Anderson is the OPA guy. There's so many names. Anderson Station, which Fred Johnston destroyed, is throwing me off. Anyway, Holden and the crew are going off to go and collect this guy, which I feel like I'm surprised that Fred Johnson let them go on their own. I feel like I probably would have sent someone else with them and not just sent the 4 people who could testify. The other thought I had is that Fred Johnson seems to... I can't remember exactly, but I think he was with the UN when he destroyed Anderson Station. But now he isn't, and he's hoping to use the survivors of the Canterbury to try and get back into the UN. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on there, but I guess the only way to find out is to watch the episode. So I think that is enough of a pre-ramble. Let's get into it and see what happens, shall we? I love these trains that they've got. They're very cool. Oh yeah, he got fired, that's right. That was a rather important detail that I forgot to mention. He got fired because the star helix were working with the OPA. Hindi. That's interesting. That wouldn't be a language I expected. But I guess that makes sense. There's a lot of people in India. There she is. I feel like that's the first good shot we got of her.
Mars went ballistic when
It looks close enough.
Is the Scipio Africanus...
comes on board.
They can't check.
Is the Scipio Africanus the ship that... Because we saw the little asides that weren't really attached. That had the kid and his uncle. Was that the Scipio Africanus? I feel like it was, because I've written that down. So I'm just gonna assume it is until proven otherwise.
Every ship.
It's a radio transmission coming from between the hulls. There's nothing down there but service and
Stowaway?
conduit.
Could be a faulty controller.
No. Amos.
I'm on it.
What was that about? Oh, I hope it's a stowaway. Stowaways are always fun. It is. Is it the kid? Who's that? Ooh, that's pretty. What's the outfit today, Chrisjen?
What?
Just checking in, ma'am.
No, I wasn't murdered in the last 30 seconds. You'll be living on basic assistance by the end of the month.
Yes, ma'am.
Basic assistance.
Alice Holden.
Oh.
I'm Chrisjen of Sarala, UN Deputy Undersecretary.
This
Is
is
that Jimmy?
It is.
Holden's family. Interesting. Ooh, I'm excited to see this. I'm very excited to see more about what life is like on Earth.
I've been stealing codes and tech from Tycho for 2 years now.
Then why are you on our ship?
Is this the spy they were talking about last episode at the start? Back to the docks, huh? What's he doing? They've got a very interesting working relationship.
Fighting against you, Lena. In fact, I was fighting.
That's why I
for you.
kidnapped you and tortured you and nearly killed you.
I was thinking that when your goons were tossing me in the airlock.
You were thinking about me then. I'm honored.
Maybe you haven't lost everything yet.
That sounds like a threat.
You'll know you will.
When I said ranch, I thought it would be like Green Hills. Curious about the dynamic between his 8 parents. Like, are they all in one romantic relationship, or are they just kind of like
That's James.
a community
That's all of us.
that raised
Brave
him?
woman.
We try not to keep secrets.
Good for any relationship. Printed books.
We try not to get secrets,
You
and yet
don't
she
see
sent
these much
Tom away.
anymore. Before anyone else loses a kid.
I still don't know
I
if
can't
Holden
help
was actually
Can't?
involved,
Or
or
you choose
if-
not to.
What good will any of this do?
How does she know that?
There, incoming.
Oh, because she got
Yes,
the
for Rocinante.
message.
Open up.
Rocinante, you have been
Uh-oh.
inspection per MCR trade regulation A066. Do not deviate from your present course. If you do, you will be fired.
You'd think they'd have better papers.
It'll make me feel better.
Will it though? This guy's fun. I like this guy. Ooh. What's going on with his eye? I may have just... That may have just been weird lighting, but I feel like there was something going on with his eye. Yeah, there's absolutely... He's got a contact in. What's he up to? I guess he's trying to figure out what he's supposed to do now. He's lost his job, he doesn't really have any purpose. He's just grasping at straws. The sparrow! I know why it looks weird now. It's because of the low gravity.
A
Anubis 1A is still here on Eros racking up dock fees.
Eros.
Kinda interested to know what's in it for you, amigo.
Okay. So Anubis sent a ship to Eros. I feel like we're heading to Eros. So
Now,
Earth...
will you stop posturing?
So I'm assuming that if she doesn't know that Holden is alive, that means that Earth did not get the message that they sent out. Which makes sense because they'll be wanting to control information and whatnot. Yeah.
And help me keep pressured mind to join the Marines, or I wouldn't pay for his education. First step in a career of public service.
She's playing...
Like mine and my father's.
She's playing the sympathetic mother figure to try and gain sympathy and get Holden's mother to talk. This is a play. She's not actually being sincere. I mean, there might be a bit of sincerity in there, but she's using that sincerity strategically.
That's not something I usually lead with.
It's a strategy play.
Donkey balls. Did you just say donkey balls? Back when I was flying transport for the MCRN.
And?
And
He's so
just like
dramatic.
that, my captain ordered me to change my where the operations locker is.
I feel like they should probably have learned about their ship a little bit better before heading off on this mission. There was not much preparation done. Oh no. 24, that's so many.
Donkey balls.
Junk drawer. Oh, that's great. I love that they still have the junk drawer, however many years in the future this is. Is he just stealing her cash? Ooh, character moment. He's leaving his hat behind.
Good.
Yeah, no shit.
He's not doing great at the moment, is
What are
he?
you doing?
Well,
I feel like he's asking himself that.
I think
He grew up thinking he was alive because the land needed him.
That sounds like a lot of pressure to put on a kid.
It's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Lovely message from him. Every month. Or two. From some ship or other, deep out in the system. Jimmy still hasn't found his place, but at least he's free.
that jump cut and the dramatic music was way more funny than it had cause to be.
Do you know how many Martians died getting us off the Donager?
ship that size, a few hundred.
And now you're gearing up to kill a few more like it was nothing.
Because they are the enemy right now.
So growing up on Earth, I guess that means Holden kind of has the ability or like the luxury to worry about human lives, whereas people who grew up on the belt or in space are much more survival oriented, especially Amos. I think Amos and Holden are kind of being paralleled a little bit in this episode. What with seeing Holden's family and then getting the discussion with Amos earlier at the airlock. Their kind of attitudes are being paralleled.
Naomi was right to be afraid of you.
Naomi was afraid of him?
Roci should be out of time.
Yeah, Holden has a idealistic streak to him that he was able to keep, I think, because he grew up surrounded by love on Earth, even if they put a lot of expectations on him and gave him too much pressure to live up to.
Holden, we're about to have company.
Ooh.
I will take it.
Oh, come on. That's a logbook?
This is your final warning.
Sci-fi books are fun.
Boys, but mendacious and polyglottal. Like a couple of donkey balls.
Yeah, throw that one in. See if it works.
When you hit port.
I think it was the donkey balls that got it.
Fellas, and hey,
They should have just said that
you boys be careful out there, here.
to begin with. They didn't have to get the logbook.
That worked out.
I hope he's not still broadcasting to them.
We'll have the asset bag him and bring him home for a long chat.
Your corporate spy's been compromised.
Yeah.
He's missed his last 2 comm windows.
So, your analysis of his character notwithstanding, I've activated a Black Ops team.
Yeah, that's
Take
not a
Holden
good
off
look
the
for
board.
I feel like she did genuinely want to clear Holden's name. I think despite I fully believed her... Despite that I fully believed she used the story about her son to connect with Holden's mother, I think she did genuinely care. And it's that kind of... Again, it's that juxtaposition, that dichotomy of genuine caring mother and grandmother versus the role that she has to fill as undersecretary or whatever she was, and that how she has to serve her planet.
Next port we hit, I want your boy Amos off this ship.
Ooh.
What's happened?
Whatever leash you had him on, better get him back on it.
He's not my dog.
I like Amos though. He's fun. He got to pee finally. Where is this? Oh, is this this will be the ship that Miller's on? Okay, so we've left series behind now by the looks of it. And imagine just being able to catch a flight like that to another planet. Well, we had some big character moments in that episode. Yeah, it felt like it was very much more of a character building episode than a plot building episode, which I am always here for. I love some character deep dives and exploration into them. Got to see Holden's home, which was very cool. A little bit of a glimpse of what it's like living on Earth. I kind of did already know that Holden's parents had had him so that he could inherit the land and that they could get away with 8 people owning this large amount of land, because the comments had explained that to me on the episode where he mentioned his parents. So just a quick reminder to, I haven't really had any issues, but some things you can say are spoilers, and I don't mind that much, but it is nice to have it revealed as the episode reveals instead of letting me know, even though the screaming firehawks out there are very enthusiastic about the show, and I can see why. But yeah, his family. So we saw 2 of his parents, and we kind of got an idea of what it was like growing up for him, and that he was kind of raised with this expectation that he was going to save the land, that he was important, that he had all of this responsibility and pressure on his shoulder, which it's not going to be easy for a kid, I guess. I don't really blame his mother for sending him off. So seeing that life and seeing that he had the ability to live in this reasonably luxurious, I would say, for Earth, from what we've picked up and from what people in the comments have been saying, he had a pretty good childhood. I mean, I doubt there's that much land for many kids in this world. So having that much land that was his would have been cool. But it seems like he, having been raised in that situation, doesn't have the brutality that a lot of people in the belt and in space have. because he hasn't had to fight to survive like that. And I think this episode did it really well in the way that they introduced you to Holden's home and his childhood home and some of his parents, while at the same time showing how he lives out the values that they instilled in him. I guess, like, even something as simple as the value of life, right? If you're raised on the land like that, then you come to value life, and you come to value not just nature, but human life. And so that contrasted with Amos, who grew up, and we learned last episode that he was, raised essentially by prostitutes, was the implication that I got in that episode. And he sounds like he's had to fight to survive the entire time. So his thought is not on the value of life and the value of nature, but on survival, simply because of how he was raised. So pitting Amos and Holden against each other like that creates a very interesting dynamic, in that, yeah, that they're clashing over this. Amos is too bloodthirsty for, or maybe not bloodthirsty, but too ready to kill, and Holden is not. Holden has that naivety that hasn't been beaten out of him. Well, maybe not naivety. I don't think it's naive to not want to kill, and I don't think it's naive to value life. But what would be the word for it? Idealism? Or that's what Amos would call it, probably. I guess Amos would see it as he has had the luxury of not having to kill. But yeah, it creates an interesting dynamic. I think that's where I'm going with it, Interesting dynamic between the different values and the different ways of looking at the world because of how you were raised. I'd love to know more about Amos's past. I'm very interested in this character. He's the kind of character that I'm really enjoying and that I think will go on and have a really good arc, because there's a lot set up. He seems like the kind of person who hasn't known what it's like to trust and to have friends and to have people who care about him, so softening him through love and friendship, the power of friendship, will be a fun arc if that is the way it goes. Alex is just a lot of fun. I'm quite enjoying him. I'm sure he will have more character moments in the future as well. Naomi too. Yeah, curious about her past. I still think that she has something to do with the OPA. Or something. But yeah, this episode was mostly focused on Amos and Holden in that group. And yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed how they showed the different attitudes that those two had because of how they were raised. And the situations that they had in life. Anyway, we've got this new character whose name I've already forgotten, and I didn't write it down because I am silly, who is the spy for Chrisjen, but the crew don't know that yet, so I'm kind of hoping he joins the crew. He seems fun, and we need another guy now that we don't have Shed anymore. So yeah, he's an interesting addition to the crew. I wonder, he looks like he's been sabotaging the ship, or something's been going on. So we will see how that develops. Miller has hung up his hat and is going rogue, I guess. He's gonna go try and track down Julie on his own, and is heading to Eros, which by the sounds of it is also where Roci, the Rocinante, is going as well. So we might meet up. Our casts might meet up. That will be exciting. I did like the scene where he hung up the hat, because the hat has kind of been his connection to Earth, where he's kind of held that hat and the badge of Nova Star. Nova Star? What call it? I forgot what it was called. But he's kind of had that badge, and he's kind of held that to rise above his station or his origin as a belter. But now that he has given up on that, now that he's essentially been abandoned by the Nova Star, Space, Moon, then yeah, he's essentially, they've abandoned him, so now he's giving up that symbol of Earth that he wore. So yeah, I'm excited to see another. It's not Eros isn't a planet. I think Eros is a moon. I need to brush up on my solar system. I know the planets, but I don't know any of the planets' moons, and I certainly don't know any of the asteroid belts or anything like that. I think that is about it from me. This was a very good episode. I really enjoyed the character building in this one. It was a lot more subtle on the world building. We kind of learned... What did we learn in the world building department? A little bit about Earth. Heard about basic assistance, which I think is the first time that's been mentioned. Chrisjen threatened the dude who was calling her to put him on basic assistance, which I don't know what that is yet. Don't tell me what that is yet, because the show hasn't revealed it yet, but we'll figure it out one day, I'm sure. Holden's family create a very interesting dynamic. I imagine that they're not the only ones who've done something like that, but it probably isn't common. Yeah, again, there wasn't that much world building. Mostly character focused this episode. Donkey balls. That's what we learned. The Martian codes. That's it from me. I'm gonna head off, and I will see you next time. So you guys head off, grab a drink, get a snack, go for a walk, take a nap, do something else. I'll be here next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.